Hey, Rhadiyah here. I'm here to share with you another video about Nspire Network and why they will never sell tampons. But I first need to educate you about the tampons and what you need to know specifically about them. Historically, the word tampon originated from the medieval French word tampion, meaning a piece of cloth to stop a hole, a stamp, plug, or stopper. Tampons were invented in the 1930s by a doctor who had a wife that was a ballerina at the time and asked her to invent something that would prevent her from being seen during that time of the month. And the original design was made from cotton. A tampon is a mass of absorbent material primarily used as a feminine hygiene product, as we know. Due to popularity, companies decided to mass produce such as a product and then started using synthetic ingredients like rayon and plastic in place of the cotton. Several countries regulate tampons as medical devices. In the US in particular, it is a Class 2 medical device and it's registered with the Food and Drug Administration, and this is why they can get away with it being labeled as a medical device. When you label something as a medical device, you don't have to list what the ingredients are. Why do most women get tampons? It's not as messy and ensures no accidents. Because wearing a pad makes you feel as if you have on a diaper. And I'm sure some of you can think of some other reasons. Well, we have discovered, thanks to a lot of the women who wear the tampons, that there is such a thing as toxic shock or TSS that you can get from wearing the tampons. And firstly, it got its name in 1978. Toxic shock syndrome is rare, a life-threatening complication of bacterial infections, and may also be caused by toxins. And your symptoms may include fever, rash, skin peeling, and low blood pressure. Some of you may or may not know this name, Lauren Wasser. She is a supermodel, and she is a person who had gotten TSS. And this is what she looks like when she was in her prime. And this is what she has looked like as a result of TSS. As you see here, she had to have her leg amputated. And then when she got over her depression, she resumed modeling, and this is what she looks like on the runway. And her symptoms began on October 2012, October 3rd, when she felt a little off, like she was coming down with the flu. And she was also on her cycle. As time progressed, she was struggling to stay upright. Then she was rushed to the hospital where she had a fever of 107 degrees and was 10 minutes away from death. Her internal organs were shutting down and she suffered a massive heart attack. The doctors couldn't stabilize her. As a result, she was put into a medically induced coma. And then after days of being in the hospital bed, she did wake up, only to realize there was 80 pounds of fluid being pumped into her body and that she was disoriented and convinced that she was in Texas. Far worse was the burning sensation in her hands and her feet that wouldn't stop. And the infection had then turned into gangrene. While Lauren was in the hospital, her mother began a massive lawsuit involving Kimberly-Clark Corporation, the manufacturer and distributor of Kotex Natural Balance tampons, as well as the grocery stores Kroger and Ralph's, which also sell that brand. The complaint insists that all of the defendants were negligently, wantonly, and recklessly, tortuously, and unlawfully responsible in some manner for Lauren's hospitalization of TSS. The tampon has not been changed since the day of the original TSS epidemic. All they did was to put a label on it, and so as to comply with the FDA companies, the FDA companies then began to put warning labels on their tampon boxes. Tampon boxes have been required to print these label warnings since the 80s, and encouraging women to change between 4 to 8 hours and not to wear them overnight. And on January 16th of 2018, she had her second leg amputated. And this is what she looks like now. And you may have seen or heard about the cannabis tampons. Reports are that women are saying that these tampons help to minimize the cramps, or that they disappear within 20 minutes. Given everything that I've told you about TSS, despite what the ingredient is made of, it's a plug. And when we're on our cycles, everything that we consumed prior to in the form of toxins has to be eliminated from the body. And this is why we have our menstrual flow. So by using a tampon, you're actually plugging it up. And do your own due diligence, and you will find that in the cases of women who wore tampons, not only did they have issues with endometriosis, but they also had issues with regards to fibroids. So common sense would tell you that maybe you should stop using tampons so that all the toxins that were in your body has a chance to come out and not stay plugged in. So I don't know about you, but given everything that we've discussed so far, I wouldn't risk it. And in fact, let me share with you what we have as a better solution. The Now We Know awareness campaign. We're letting women and men and children know the harmful effects of not only tampons, but sanitary napkins as well. And again, you can do your own due diligence and checking WebMD. This is the very website that doctors use themselves when they do research on different things. So the awareness campaign is Now We Know, and you can go to the website nowweknow.net to find even more information about the campaign and how you can get involved if you so choose. And the product that we have is Cherish. Here is the day, and there's 10 in those. Here is the night, and there's 8 in those. Here's the overnights that have 7, and panty liners that have 30. Each varying in size. The panty liners obviously would be the smaller of them. So you would use that at the beginning of your cycle or at the end, or for other issues. And then the overnight are for the women who have a heavier flow. And some people, not only women, but men who have issues with incontinence, use the overnights to help them with their incontinence issues. And then the night are for those that aren't as heavy as those who would wear the overnights. So they would wear the night. And that doesn't mean that you only wear these at night or as you sleep. We know people that wear them throughout the day as well as the night. And then finally, the day, that's for a woman that has a lighter cycle. So each pack is only $5. And you can save, when you spend more than $50, you can save 10% off your purchase by using my code, my first and last name together, Rhadiyah Hutchen, at joinrhadiyah.com. And if you sign up to be on our auto ship, you would then get your 10% no matter how much you spent each month. So now we're going to talk about the benefits of the Cherish sanitary napkins. The first benefit is that it's made from cotton. Cotton are, next to diamonds, are a girl's best friend. There's 8 layers of protection, and these particular pads are 10 more times absorbent than commercial pads, holding 300 times its weight in water, which keeps us drier. It contains an algae strip that is infused with negative ions. So we're going to talk about that for a second. The algae strip itself is from the sea or the ocean, and then on top of that, it's infused with negative ions. And what are negative ions? Negative ions are things that we refer to as the vitamins of the air, in that it's the calmness that you feel when you go to the beach, when you go to a lake, when you go to a waterfall. The calmness that God has placed on the earth after a storm has done whatever damage it has done. There's nothing but calmness after. No matter how severe the storm, when it's finished, there's calmness on the earth. And that's exactly what it does to the uterus. The reason we have pains, menstrual pains, is because our uterus contracts. So the negative ion is responsible for relaxing the uterus. And many women have reported that either their pain has been minimized or that it has subsided completely. So moving on, there's infrared technology in the pads. And what is FIR, or far infrared radiation? It's a subdivision of electromagnetic spectrum of natural radiation from the sun. And it's made up of filaments or fibers impregnated with FIR emitting nanoparticles, and are becoming used to deliver these thermal radiation effects. It transfers energy purely in the form of heat, which can be perceived by thermoreceptors in human skin. The body experiences this energy as a gentle radiant heat, which can penetrate up to 1.5 inches beneath the skin. And further, it heals wounds quickly. It increases vascular rebuilding from its stimulation of nitrous oxide. It decreases the menstrual flow due to the more rapid repair of the uterine lining. Growth effects of several cancer cell lines were suppressed after FIR treatment. Body temperatures stimulate, meaning also there are women who wear these that are menopausal or premenopausal, and they have found benefit that their hot flashes disappear. And that is due to the infrared technology. And now moving on to the Nanosilver. It's been used for the treatment of medical ailments for over 100 years due to its natural antibacterial and antifungal properties. Um, it inhibits cell growth. So this is why, and because of how the other layers of the pad, there are no bacterial infections like what we would normally experience wearing the commercial pads. There's no odor or itchiness or sores. Okay. So again, it may eliminate odor and or bacteria, and it will give you comfort. So basically that is it, and this is why Nspire Network will never sell tampons, because the pads have much more advantage than tampons. So if you enjoyed this video, I ask that you give it a thumbs up. I also ask that you not keep this information to yourself, but share it with others. You can share it on Facebook or any of the other social media that you have access to or utilize. And I thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope that you all will be inspired to join us on our awareness campaign and educating others.